only 2 weeks into the college football season, but it's never too early to talk about the Heisman voting, right? So Jake, who is in your lead, and who are some names to watch out for?
Never too early to talk about it. I made a top five. Never too early to talk about the Heisman program. Number one, I got Colorado quarterback Sugar Sanders. I think Sugar is doing great things at Colorado right now,
Pause.
and
Pause.
that's why.
Number one, as in he's winning the Heisman right now, or number one as just a name recognition?
Number one, and he's in the league right now, I think.
Okay, I'll get to that in a little bit. Go ahead.
Number two, I think you still gotta think about 2021 Heisman winner Caleb Williams. I still think Caleb Williams is a great quarterback, and obviously, I don't. Who knows if he's going to leave college football this year to go to the NFL? Um, so I still think you got, 9 touchdown passes already through 2 games. And then you got number three, you got Michael Penix Jr. at Washington. He threw 5 touchdowns in week one in one single game. I think you have to think about Michael Penix. And at number four, I got Bo Nix. Bo Nix, he struggled at Auburn those first 3 years, so I would not put him in the Heisman conversation at Auburn, but he has definitely grown into himself at Oregon. So I think he is in the Heisman right now. And then number five, I got Travis Hunter, but he is a name who can skyrocket earlier this season. He is a name who can skyrocket the next couple weeks. And I say that because he plays on both sides of the ball, and he's electric on both sides of the ball. Evan, who's your top five, man? Who you got?
So I have a top three, and it's actually the same as Jake, but I think Jake has the incorrect order. So here's how I think the order goes. I think Caleb Williams is first. Shedeur Sanders is a very close second, but he is a second. They're not tied. And then I do have Michael Penix Jr. pretty decently back, but hanging around because Washington, they hammered Tulsa. They hammered Boise State, which was a surprise. That was supposed to be a closer game. And he has played phenomenally to start. So I have him as a distant third. So let's talk about the top two. Let's go to stats first, right away. Where does Caleb Williams have the edge? He has like a 240 quarterback rating. That is insane. The next closest, I think, is Shedeur Sanders, who's like 50 points below her. So obviously that's a stat nerd type thing, but still that means a lot. That takes into account your entire play. Passing yards, they're about similar. I think Caleb Williams has about 50 more passing yards, but Caleb Williams has played an extra game. So Shedeur Sanders on average is moving the ball a little more than Caleb Williams, which is surprising to say. And also Shedeur Sanders has played more legitimate competition. Caleb Williams played like Nevada, San Jose State. Even I know Stanford's in their conference, but still, come on, they're not worthy. Colorado has played. They played TCU, who I defended and said is still a good program. And then they played Nebraska, who, yes, has struggled recently, but they're still a pretty great defense. So I think it's closer than people think. I think Jake is incorrect when he says Shedeur is in the lead, and I'd like to hear a little more why he thinks Shedeur is actually in the lead. But give me him as a close second. I got Caleb Williams as first. Jordan, what do you think?
All right, so it's actually interesting. My top five is the exact same top five as Jake, but not in the same order. So number one for me right now has to be Caleb Williams at USC. I mean, he hasn't shown me anything that shows that he's dropped off at all. I mean, he's had 2 phenomenal touchdowns this year where the staff hasn't been good. He's made something out of nothing. And then number two for me has to be Shedeur Sanders. I mean, what he's done at Colorado and helped lead the turnaround, I don't know how well the season ends up for them. But for right now, 2-0 Colorado, shout out to them. Number three is Michael Penix Jr. for me. 5 touchdown passes in one game, like Jake mentioned. Michael Penix has to be mentioned in the Heisman conversation at this moment. Number 4 for me is Bo Nix. He is, we saw this last year, right? Heisman, he was in the Heisman conversation. I think that he is in the right system at Oregon, and he is going to thrive in that situation. And number 5 is Travis Hunter, 2-way player, huge star. I actually saw him play a bit at Collins Hill here in Georgia. He is the real deal. Travis Hunter rounds out my top 5, but I have Caleb Williams winning it right now.
Yeah, so before I let Jake respond to what I asked, I just want to say Bo Nix actually It's funny enough about to what I want to get into because he's had the billboards of him. I think one in New York and one in Texas. Like, go look that up if you haven't seen it. But Bo Nix is branding himself at least. But that's what I got to say to Jake is one last thing is the stardom factor. Let's be honest. That's how they do pay. Heisman isn't based solely on stats. It's based on who's the star too. And that's where Shedeur does, he get a boost there for sure. But doesn't Caleb Williams too? I mean, Caleb Williams, you're talking about a guy who could go back to back in Heisman. When's the last time that's happened? I mean, so both are stars. So I think that kind of washes out. So why do you think Shedeur is in the lead right now?
Yeah, I just think Shedeur is in the league right now because of basically what you say, better competition. Sugar Sanders played TCU week 1. He played Nebraska week 2. Caleb Williams played San Jose State, Nevada, and Stanford. I mean, just what you say, better competition.
We'll see what happens because I think Caleb Williams is coming to Colorado, so that'll be an interesting game.
He is. USC plays at Colorado, I believe, in 2 weeks.
2 weeks,
we'll
okay, coming up. We'll know pretty soon then, Jake.